Hello. Time to get back to work. So today I need to continue working on the UI stuff. Alright. Well then, let's start working on it. Alright, so we're going to need a new object here, which is going to be our way of communicating with the UI, what our level is, and what sort of points are available. Alright, so we're going to want our UI level data, which is going to have a UI viewpoint. Now, should we make these an enum? If we make these an enum, then we specifically have specific things. It's probably best if we do make this an enum. Alright, so we'll have viewpoints. We'll have viewpoint 1 through whatever. Alright, so this is how we define an enum. Enum true default is going to be viewpoint 1. Alright, so that will be our UI viewpoint. So type complex array true. This will be viewpoints. And then we also want our active viewpoint. Alright, so that'll be that. Alright, so it'll be UI viewpoint changed. And we'll actually send the type over like so. Let's template all that out. So what we're going to want here is we're going to want to get our viewpoint data from this thing. Yeah, it should just be viewpoint. Let's make sure we got that. Set up properly. The FUI viewport. Yes. Alright, so it is an enum. Alright, that needs to be a thing. And I need a default. Alright. Alright, let's see. Alright, so we're doing the UI events. Failed.enum.name. Alright, so it's Dashkin UI events.cpp. Line 45? What is this angry about? Alright, in template line 47, enum.name. Isn't, yeah, it looks like this is just busted. Because I believe this should be EBS anyway. Yeah, it's EBS. And then get string for enum variable.name. And I think this is variable.type. Alright, so it is a U because it's a U object that we've got. It might work. So while that's rolling, let's continue work. Alright, so we have activation, deactivation. Alright, so we need to include our enums. So we need to be able to call and get our information here. Alright. So we got those. Let's see. We added our tags. So OT player proxy of name. Well, that's not right. Alright, so there's our viewpoint tag. Alright, so we got the viewpoint utils, which we also need to write. Should be how we interact with these things. And we already added that to the UI, so we should be able to call these. So, give viewpoint by name. Well, we're not going to use names, we're going to use types. So let's change it up. Alright, so this is our actual viewpoint actors. Yeah, out actors. Alright, that's good. And this is going to need to be a type. Activate viewpoint. Type. And this guy actually needs to do this. He needs to do we need to check this viewpoint actor. Check the viewpoint. Alright, so activate viewpoint. We're gonna get viewpoint by type. Guess I should just do it like this. So grab the currently active one and deactivate it. Which means we're actually going to have a few things. Alright, so that will activate viewpoint editor. Awesome. Alright, so what are... So, UI viewport changed. So whenever we do this activate, we're also going to need to throw our event. So that's going to be... What other thing uses these events? So it's just that enum for that event. Alright, that's fine. And let's regenerate that since I changed the name. So we'll get that working properly. I think I also want to add a none, and I want to default things to that. So wait for this to finish building and we'll re-kick the gen. Yeah, so I'm just working on the UI level stuff, which is basically where we have the background, instead of being pretty paintings that take 2 million years and are also large, and if we want to do anything with them we have to repaint them, is having like a 3D real world for our main menu UI background, which should help people with also their graphics settings, because you know, you change your graphic settings and you'll be able to see exactly what that does to your viewport and also your frames per second. It might also make some issues there where, you know, like, say you change some of your graphic settings and you change them so that, you know, it uses Pixel Shader 3 or something else that your graphics card has a problem with, and then your game just crashes. Now, regardless of whatever the hell you do, you know, like, that'll crash as soon as, you know, you're in the graphics menu with whatever the graphics menu is looking at, like a nice pretty waterfall. And as soon as you go to try to change your settings, it'll just blow up, and you can never change your settings back. So hopefully we don't have that problem, because I really hate those. But that's one of the risks with having like a 3D UI level and all that. Which is kind of like... we don't have a launcher patcher for this project, mainly because we'll be launching on Steam, and Steam will do the updates for us. But in previous projects, I've written the launcher patchers and everything, because I worked at like Amazon and EA and other places where we didn't want to give Valve all our money. You'd write a patcher, and Of course, the patcher needs to self-update too. And well, what if the patcher can't self-update and it's just broken? Those are the worst. But it works. We got through all that. I've written so many damn patchers. It's always funny because you have all these ideas like, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to make this amazing launcher patcher that uses like BitTorrent, so we don't have to pay as much for download for bandwidth, and also increases, speed for everybody. And you never get to it. Ever. Or you do that and then the game goes nowhere anyway, which is probably more likely. That's always the crazy part about game development is you have a lot of really smart people doing a lot of really complex crap, and at the end of the day, like, you fail to ship the game or something like that, and you've done this massive amount of work, and none of it fucking matters. You can be right all day. Did the game ship? No. Well, you might as well have been sitting around doing jack shit, because there's no game. It's just, what do you want? You can be clever all day. It's not going to get it shipped. Thank you for hosting, Adam. I figured he was lurking around here somewhere. Working on those Bob's Burgers. I cannot convert argument 1 from const fstring to fname. I think I have to dereference the pointer. Work alert? Yeah, that's what I figured, something like that. Yeah, so update 4 is going to be, it's just going to be an update, which is a new screen on the main menu that says, sorry, we didn't get update 4 done. You should play Subnautica, though. The link to Subnautica. And then a smaller link below it to Kingdom Come Deliverance. Be like, are you racist? Then you'll love this game. Alright, so this is active viewport. We have not implemented this. Viewpoint, not port. No, I have not played Subnautica. I'm not going to play Subnautica until I finish some other things. I gotta finish Kingdom Come Reign, which I actually started getting a lot better at that game. After the the mod to save at any point, that really helps. Also, the difficulty curve on Kingdom Come, it's kind of interesting. They'll throw you into fights that, in a lot of like RPGs or something, there are fights you shouldn't win, like you're supposed to lose, and they make it really obvious. Like you just immediately get crushed. Kingdom Come is kind of like that, but they really don't sell it that well. Like, so I'd get into a couple of fights with combat, and I'd be like, "What the hell? I can't do anything." I suck at this game. Ugh. But it's really like, yeah, you're just a footman with nothing. Like, you're wearing a t-shirt and shorts versus a knight, he's going to kick your ass. Like, you're going to die. Like, your sword sucks. It's made of tin instead of steel. Like, get fucking wrecked, yeoman. So that's a thing. Okay, so that all compiles. So to activate the viewport, we've got to take over the control of the camera, and I think the only thing that does that is the player proxy actor. Okay, so I think it's this player controller set view targets. Alright, so when we do this sort of thing, we're going to grab our player controller. What is our player index? Like, where are we getting this? It's going to be auto activate value. Okay, so I think just zero? Spit out a warning if this doesn't. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're enjoying Subnautica, because I think with that last update, there was a significant amount of salt flowing around. So, it's good to... Good to get some relaxation in there in some of this, because if you look at the schedule, we've got, with the last change to the plan, all that work goes off into January of next year. Oh, come on, you can't tell me you weren't a little upset over the over those enums. You almost threw Jeff out the door. And by almost, I mean you did. It was pretty funny. As soon as you left that game, he started posting the the emotes again. He's like, "Well, now that Adam's gone, we can do this." So we got his activate viewpoint. We'll grab the player controller, set the view target. I'm actually gonna look this up real quick on Unreal. Alright, so client set view target. Transition params. What's this? Exponent applied to certain function applied to blend parameter. Total duration of blend. 0 means no blending. Okay, so we could use different view blends. Camera smoothly accelerates but does not decelerate into the target. Camera smoothly accelerates and decelerates. Use amount by blend exponent. Get blend alpha. Well, if this is easy to do, I might as well just support it, right? So, I mean, if we have a view target transition params here, then all we really have to do is client set view target. Yeah, okay, so let's actually do something here with use transition, and let's just set it to true by default. So if use transition, do one or the other. So we'll be able to use those transition parameters. That seems reasonable. Not really sure how it's going to work. I guess we should also do a bool here for is first. So we won't try to do any of this transition stuff unless it's there. Alright, so that'll do that. Oh yeah, the troll potential is there. It's like a poorly written chat system usually will allow you to enter HTML into the actual chat, and it'll use it in everyone else's. So one of the best ways to troll people in chats usually is to just type out some HTML code, which especially a lot of games that use WebKit for their UI, if you change the entire window target, it'll just break their game entirely. So it's always a fun thing to post like a little link or something in chat so that when people click on it, it just fucks up their entire UI. Or you set your font size to something massive and just jam on the keyboard and their entire screen gets filled up by giant red text. You can also do even more insidious stuff, because how WebKit stuff usually works with integrations with games is that they expose the C++. Funny for that one guy? Yeah, not funny for everyone else. Is they expose in JavaScript direct hooks into C++ code, so you can call in and do stuff that you normally can't do. Like, let's say you want to read a file system or something. Usually all this stuff is exposed to JavaScript that your normal web browser protects you from. So things like if you're in global chat for a game, let's just pick a game at random, Diablo 3 at launch, and if you're in global chat, you can get information about that user and maybe send messages and fetch things, and people are able to get somebody's like login key and the server that they were connected to, so that when they disconnect from a game, they can actually connect as that user to that game server and steal all their shit, which combined with a real money auction house, you can see is a pretty juicy attack vector. So we have our scene, our camera component. Alright, so what we want to do is go into the game and set up a few viewpoints, and then we want to be able to transition between them. This is all built up. I mean, it's not as crazy as you'd think. A lot of the hacks that have to do with your actual web browser usually have to do with plugins. A good example of that is the security plugins for like Norton or other things like that. I think Kaspersky was the one that had the most issues or whatever, but basically a poorly written security plugin is more is worse than just a vanilla browser. Or even a well-written security plugin is worse than just your normal browser, because the browser companies test their shit pretty damn well, but that's not always true for your security company. And usually your security software runs at low rings. Okay, so we got these viewpoints here. So this will be viewpoint 1, and this one will be viewpoint 2. We got our transition params. And, yeah, okay, so cubic, blend time, let's just set it to true. Time of day advance. I'm gonna want a button in here which is get current time of day, aren't I? Because that's what I'm gonna, yeah, okay. And that's inside of the viewpoint blueprint, right? Alright, we'll just do it simply. So level utils. How do we even get this? Like, I guess we have to do it inside of blueprints, so I'll just do that. Man, there's like snow and cold weather for the rest of the week, which is fine because I don't go outside. Okay, so we need another function here, which we're going to call fetch time of day. That's going to be inside of our debug, and it's going to be able to call in editor. Alright, so we're going to get all actors of a specific class. Gameplay statics. Alright, so get all actors of class, and that class is going to be default Skysphere. And we want to fetch the time of day and time of day advance. And on our actor, we want to set time of day and time of day advance speed. Just like that. A dude lost both of his legs to frostbite after he fell asleep in his car. That's got to be the worst hangover experience of all time. I mean, I assume that somebody falling asleep in their car wouldn't wake up because they were just like drunk off their ass or something. But both legs? I mean, I guess he needed to learn some lesson for. That's pretty fucked up. Okay, so we can snag all the times a day. So we're going to need the activate, and the activate is going to need to set the time of day. How do we do this? So if we're going to linearly translate over to this place, we basically want to linearly interpolate to whatever time of day it's supposed to be. So we'll need that logic in there. So we need to implement this inside of blueprints. So I'm going to need some blueprint events that I can call. Where's a good example of that? I think it's inside of like logic. Blueprint implementable. Yeah, okay, here we go. So get both of those functions set up. So B deactivate and B activate. Oh, that's like I think there was some lawsuit thing there about truck drivers and like they can't leave the cab or something like that, and some dude like froze to death in the cab waiting for the company car to come rescue him or some crap. And if he had left the truck, like he would have gotten fired. I mean, at that point, basically, I mean, get out, build a fucking fire, you know, right? Do the whole Survivor Man thing. Go find some rocks, throw the rocks in the fire, and then put the rocks next to you, and hope they don't crack. Actually, I should probably make this one blueprint accessible. So, like, blueprint read only. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's your body doing what it does. Cut off the non-essential things to make sure everything keeps rolling along. So, at that point, you'd be like, well, why didn't you get a Verizon phone and get that extra 1% coverage? That's where you want to have that body heat control. Like that one guy, I forget the name of him or whatever, but there's one like crazy Russian dude who runs marathons barefoot in the snow and ice, and he can like warm his extremities just by willpower. It's pretty funny. It sounds like a pretty good superpower. Yeah. Okay, so what we want to check here is we want to have a transition time. I guess we'll actually get the transition time off of ourselves. And we'll, in our update tick, we'll do stuff. All right. Okay, so on activate, we're going to need a variable here, which is going to be activate started. So if we are active and our activate started does not equal 0, then we want to do like our transition stuff. Alright, so we're going to need to set our percent transition to be our transition time. So that's going to be our transition parameters. We'll snag our blend time, and so if our blend time gosh, I hate doing some of this stuff. So as long as our blend time is actually greater than 0, otherwise we'll set this here. Turning off all your senses when you sleep, so you can't wake up for the fire alarm. Just let me die. Okay, so we grab the current time, and we subtract the current time from the started time, and then we divide that by our transition param, blend time. And that's going to go from 0 to 1. So if it's greater than or equal to 1, then we are